Okay, so my boyfriend, my partner, he was 30 and I'm 33. We were together for 15 years. Can you believe it? 15 years. I was a senior in high school when we met. We just stuck together through everything, right up until a few months ago. That's when he passed away. Bone cancer took him. It's still hard to even say. We live in a country that's pretty traditional. Same-sex marriage isn't legal here, officially, but socially, it's mostly okay. Not like a huge problem day to day, you know? But legally, it means, well, it complicates things, especially now. His parents, see, they kicked him out when he came out to them. He was only 17. Just a kid, really. It was devastating. I remember how hurt he was. My family, though, they stepped up. They took him in, helped him finish high school. They were as supportive as they possibly could be. They basically became his family. I work in HR, and after school, he got into IT. He was good at it, made decent money pretty young. He managed to save up enough to buy his own place about 10 years ago. He handled the mortgage himself for years. Then about 4 years back, he got the diagnosis. Cancer. Everything changed. He had to cut back on work to focus on his health, and without even thinking about it, I stepped in. I started paying the mortgage. It was the least I could do. It felt like the only practical thing I could do while he was fighting. And it was a fight, a really tough, grueling battle. But the cancer it won. He passed away in March. And then, like ghosts, his parents showed up. Suddenly, out of nowhere. Talking about how much they regretted missing out on his life, how sorry they were. At the time, I was so deep in grief, I couldn't even process them. It felt surreal. A little time went by, maybe a month or so after he was gone. And then they reached out to me. Not about memories, not really about him. They asked me when they could expect me to give them the keys to the house. Just like that. It felt like a punch to the gut. They brought up the whole same-sex marriage thing not being legal, implying that meant they could claim the house because they're his blood family. It was like they were looking for a legal loophole, using the very system that denied our relationship legal recognition. I had to take a breath, I told them. I explained that the house was actually in my name. I'd bought it from him about a year into his treatment. It was a joint decision we made. It felt like the best way to protect things, to make sure everything was simple if the worst happened. And I reminded them that I had been paying the mortgage for 4 years now, way before the official transfer. It was legally mine. They got instantly upset. They said I was being unreasonable, that the house should be legally theirs. And then they brought up something even harder to hear. They said my boyfriend would have wanted them to have the house. And the worst part? That's actually true. He did. He talked about it a lot, especially when he was sick, how he would give anything, everything, to them if it would just fix their relationship, if they would just accept him. Honestly, he originally bought that house years ago, I think, hoping they might even come live with him so they wouldn't have to rent anymore. He kept trying to make amends with them all this time, reaching out, hoping, but it never worked. They never really came around. So I tried. I really did. I told them I'd give them the house, yes, but for the price I'd bought it from him, and that they'd need to pay me back the 4 years of mortgage payments I'd made, and then, of course, take over the debt themselves. It felt fair, covering my costs and the money I'd poured into it. They just flat out said they didn't have the money, and then they turned it back on me. They said it was so selfish of me to even suggest that, knowing what my boyfriend would have wanted, knowing his heart. They proposed something else, just changing the debt over into their name and giving me nothing. Zero money. For years of payments for the initial price I paid him, I couldn't. I declined. It felt like they were trying to take advantage, plain and simple. Like they saw an opportunity after ignoring him for so long. That's when they got genuinely mad. The conversation got really heated. They actually told me they would take me to court. They said they'd accuse me of scamming my boyfriend to get the house from him. It's ridiculous. I know they can't actually do that. Not legally. It was all above board. But hearing them say it, it stung. And it hasn't stopped. For the past month now, they've been calling me, texting me nonstop, telling me I would be a terrible person to my boyfriend, that I'd be betraying him if I don't just give them the house. It's constant pressure. I know they really can't afford to pay me back all the money I put into the place. And honestly, I'm really conflicted about this whole thing. Some friends have told me I should just give them the house, let it go, move on with my life. Maybe it's not worth the fight, the stress, but it doesn't feel right in my gut. Not at all. I'm definitely leaning more towards not giving them the house, but I keep thinking about him. I know deep down that if they had just, even once, shown him genuine love and acceptance, he would have probably just jumped at the chance to give them everything. He would have given them the house in a second if it meant fixing things with them. That's the part that makes it hard. Their words saying he would have wanted this, they feel hollow now, twisted. It feels like they just want to take advantage of this awful, painful situation. I don't actually need the house, to be honest. We didn't live there. We lived in my apartment all these years. That's why I don't need this house for myself. But that doesn't automatically make me okay with giving it to them. It's a small place, maybe 60 square meters, out in the suburbs, not worth a fortune. Maybe 90,000 US dollars or a bit more. It's not about the money for me, not really. It's the principle, and it's about his memory. So much of his money went to his medical bills, you know? He absolutely refused to let me put mine towards that. Though, of course, I would have in a second. Selling me the house or transferring it, that was one of the ideas we had that worked for both of us. He was such a genuinely kind, good person. He truly wanted to reconcile with his parents, even after they hurt him so much. I'm pretty sure that even if it was just a false promise of acceptance, he would have given them the house the moment they finally acknowledged him as openly gay and told him they loved him. That's the hope he carried. That's the only reason I'm even struggling with this at all. Because he had that hope, even if they never earned it. But they never did. And now they show up demanding the house he hoped would bring them together after he's gone. It just feels wrong. It feels like they're trying to profit from his death and his unfulfilled wish. We never actually talked about what I should do with the house after he passed away. So would I be in the wrong if I don't just hand them the keys? Even knowing that part of him, the part that longed for their acceptance, might have wanted them to have it under different circumstances? Okay, so, update. Last year, I put something up here asking if I would be the bad guy if I didn't give my late boyfriend's house to his parents. First off, seriously, thank you. To everyone who replied and just offered some support, I really, really appreciated it more than I can say at the time. Back when I posted that, I was just in such a dark, confusing place. Everything felt so heavy and tangled up, and honestly, figuring out what to do about the house felt impossible. It was truly one of the hardest decisions I've ever faced. So many people told me to just take my time, which was good advice, but I specifically remember logging off one night and seeing a response from you/Miss Aftig J. Their comment just stuck with me. It lived rent-free in my head for almost a week, just bouncing around, and it really crystallized things for me. It helped me decide that, yeah, I needed to pump the brakes and not rush into anything with the house until my head was clear. So that's what I did. I decided to wait until I felt like I could actually think straight, like the fog had lifted a bit. It took a few months, and believe me, it wasn't easy. His parents kept up the pressure, calling and emailing constantly about the house. It was like they couldn't let it go, couldn't give me any space to grieve, or even just think. It felt like harassment, honestly. They even went as far as hiring a lawyer to try and talk to me about it. But thankfully, my own lawyer just stepped in and made it abundantly clear they had absolutely no legal standing and should stop harassing me. That felt like a huge relief, knowing I had someone in my corner shutting them down. Finally, back in January, I felt like I could breathe again, like I could actually process things and make a decision. I reached out and told them what I was willing to do. I would sell them the house for the original price my boyfriend had paid for it. I knew I'd still be losing money compared to the market value now, but it honestly felt like the best, most practical course of action for me at that point. I told them that was my final offer. And you know what they did? They refused it. They actually told me I should be a better person and just let them have the house for even less. And the way they said it, they didn't even call me his boyfriend, just a person. It stung deep down. It felt like they were erasing our relationship, reducing me to just some random person holding on to their son's house. My stomach just dropped when they said that. So right then and there, I just decided enough was enough. I told my lawyer to put the house on the market. A few weeks later in February, they actually reached out again. They asked if my previous offer was still on the table. Part of me, the part that was still hurting and frankly, just annoyed, really wanted to say absolutely not. After how they'd treated me, how they'd lowballed me and dismissed me. But then I thought about him. I knew deep down that he really would have wanted his parents to live there. It was important to him. So I bit my tongue on the no and told them yes, the offer was still valid. But they had 1 week to decide. No more dragging this out. Turns out they didn't even need the week. They accepted right away. It was almost anticlimactic. So I just let my lawyer handle everything with the sale. I honestly couldn't face them anymore. I just wanted the whole thing to be over and done with without having to see them or talk to them. What I didn't expect was when my lawyer handed me this photo book after the sale closed. It was filled with pictures of my boyfriend from when he was a kid and a preteen. It looked like it was their way of trying to acknowledge his life, maybe. It was unexpected, and honestly, it's the only thing I'm grateful to them for out of this whole awful situation. His one-year memorial was just a few weeks ago. They didn't show up. And you know what? That felt like the final piece. Like, okay, now I can really start to move on with my life without their pressure or negativity bothering me anymore. Anyway, that's where things are. Thanks again for all the comments and direct messages. You guys were seriously amazing when I needed it.